Hello friends, how are you all doing today? So for those of you who don't know, I live in Vancouver, Canada, and it is getting cold here. Right now I'm wearing my jacket with my mug beside me, so yeah, I am all set for the winter. Anyways, I know I say this a lot all the time, but I'm just very excited for today's episode. Today we are talking about how to create transitions in your day. And I think this topic is really, really important because we tend to talk a lot about taking breaks. We talk about, we need to take breaks in our day, but we do not talk enough about how to take intentional breaks and how to make the best out of that time in a way that is actually recharging our energy and helping us transition into the next segment in our day. In this episode, we are talking specifically about how to create transitions in your day in a way that allows you to be more mindful, more intentional, and you can constantly recharge and focus and show up at your best at any time during the day. So this one is a short lesson, but I think you will enjoy it. Welcome to the Daring Living podcast, where it's all about personal growth, honest conversations, and exploring what it means to live a passionate, daring life. I'm your host, Shirley Huang. Before we talk about transitions, let's first talk about taking breaks. I think sometimes people tend to associate taking a break as meaning that you're not doing anything. However, studies have shown, and also from my personal experience as well, when we split up work into small chunks as opposed to sitting down and tackling something for a long time, I find that I am able to really produce much higher quality and more efficient work. So for those of you listening out there, if you are also the hustle grind people, please keep that in mind, because I know sometimes for me, I love what I do so much, and I definitely still have some days where I'm just going all in and forgetting to take a break in between. So I really need to work on that. I'm putting this out there so you can all keep me accountable. Creating transitions is a more intentional approach to taking a break. Every day, we tend to take on multiple roles in our day. In the morning, we might have to take on the role as the child, as the daughter or son. We head to work and we are the employee. We might also have to be the partner, the friend, the student, or maybe the sister or brother. So in one single day, we might have to play different roles. And each role requires a different approach to the situation, how you want to walk into the situation, and you might have to bring in a different energy to a relationship too. For example, you would not want to treat your boss at work the same way as how you would speak to your younger sister, right? Sometimes when we are very busy in our day and where we are always on the go, it can be very easy for us to blur out our roles in a day when we are not mindful and aware of them. This is also why sometimes people come home after a long day at work, and a few hours in, they still find it hard to relax and rest, even when they have arrived home, because they haven't fully transitioned out of their employee role yet. Does that make sense? This is why creating transitions is so important, because these daily transitions, they will really help you to make the deliberate decision to shift from your previous phase into your next phase of the day. And this helps to prepare yourself. It helps you to practice mindfulness and really, really set yourself up to excel and show up as your best in your next role. This is how you can create more clarity, focus better, be more present, and even be more efficient with your day. So the more I think about it, there's just so many great benefits that come with creating transitions in your day. I have 3 steps for you to create these transitions. The first step is to identify different phases in your day. Think about how many phases are there in a typical day for you. What are the main segments that divide up your day? You can think about it in terms of different roles that you play, or you can also segment your day by time. And then you can choose to place your transition breaks in between these phases. For me, I like to split up my day by time. So I have a transition in the morning right before I start work, right after my lunch, one before dinner, and a transition before I go to sleep. So I typically have about 4 transitions a day. Again, I don't do this all the time. Right now, I have about maybe within 7 days, I will do 4 days where I'm very intentional. The rest 3 days, still working on those. But on the days when I do it, I'm just so much more conscious and productive and so much more present too. Sometimes when I'm working, I also create transitions in between different types of tasks as well. So maybe before my client calls, I will do a transition to go from someone who is typing a blog post to the coach for this particular client. I want to be very conscious and really step into a role to be the best coach that I can be. And I want to prepare myself for that. Alright, so step 1 was to identify the different phases that are in your day. And now step 2 is to create your transitions. So you can decide what activity you want to do during your transition. There are 3 actions specifically that I focus on. The first is to let go. So I let go of my previous role and I let go of anything that's on my mind. And second, I bring my awareness back to the present. And third, I set a new intention for the next role. So let go, bring awareness back to the present, and create a new intention. Think about how you can incorporate different activities or a combination of activities to help you achieve these 3 actions. Some examples that you can think about include meditation, journaling, going for a walk, doing a quick stretch, deep breathing, or even you can simply just choose to just do nothing and sit there and be present and actively focus on these 3 actions. So sometimes if I find that I only have 5 minutes to spare, I will stand up, get out of my chair, go and grab a drink of water, and then I will take 3 deep breaths to let go of my previous role. And then I will focus on the present. I will focus on where I am right now and just focusing on the sensation as my hand is touching the glass of water, and maybe focusing on the sound around me, the traffic outside. And then I would just stay like that for a good 10 to 15 seconds, be silent for a while. And then from that place, then I will ask myself, what is my new intention for the next role? What kind of person do I need to be as I enter this next role in my day? You can decide how long you want the transition break to be. For me, I find that 5 to 10 minutes of mindful transition is a really good time frame. Okay, so step 3 is to set a cue to start your transition. In order to make these transitions into habits, you have to define the cue for them. It can be some sort of reminder or activity that will trigger you to start doing that transition. So it's not really as complicated as it sounds. One way you can do it is to stack it right after something that you will always do toward the end or in the beginning of that phase. So let me give you an example. Every day when you arrive home from work, you sit down and meditate for 5 minutes. So you arriving home from work, that is the cue. And every day when you do that, after you do that, you sit down and meditate for 5 minutes. So meditating for 5 minutes, it's a habit, but you can also make that into a transition just to be more intentional about it. Another example is right after you grab your coffee at work, you go over your agenda for the day and do a quick breathing exercise to prepare yourself for the day. So grabbing your coffee at work, that's the cue. And right after you do that, you sit down, look over your agenda, and you do a breathing exercise and set your new intention. That is the transition. Do you see what I mean? It's basically just deliberately choosing the cue so that you can start doing the transition and follow through with it. So you can be very creative about how you want your transitions to look like and how you want to create them. Do what works for you, experiment with them, and do what works for your schedule too. These transitions will really let you to be more mindful of your present moment, and that they will provide a conscious shift for you to prepare yourself moving forward. So really be onto yourself, right? For example, scrolling on social media or checking your emails is not really necessarily a transition, nor is it an actual break. So just notice that and be onto yourself and give yourself the unplugged, intentional transition break that you need. By adding these transitions, small transitions, into your day, they will really help you to deliberately choose how you want to show up in different phases in your day. And you will just feel a lot more refreshed and more energized throughout your day. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I would love to know what you think of today's episode and how you are going to add in your daily transitions. Feel free to tag me on your Instagram story at Daring Living or send me a message. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you enjoy this show, it will help me so much if you can leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, because this helps my show to be pushed higher on the platform and I can help more and more people this way. Thank you so much. I will talk to you next week. Bye bye.